Poland will stop operating MiG-29 fighter aircraft and Soviet-era Su-22 fighter bombers. Polish Minister of Defense Mariusz Błaszczak announced such plans, according to Polish radio. The minister emphasized that the Polish army will be equipped with aircraft manufactured in the USA and South Korea. It is no longer possible to continue using post-Soviet equipment. We will withdraw the MiG-29 and Su-22 aircraft in a very short time. In addition to American F-16s and F-35s, South Korean training and combat aircraft will appear in Polish aviation, said Błaszczak, speaking at a military festival in honor of the 102nd anniversary of the victory over the Bolsheviks in the Battle of Warsaw. The minister said that he was criticized for purchasing new military equipment for the Polish armed forces. I am being criticized for buying new combat equipment for the Polish army because the critics would probably like me to buy the equipment elsewhere, he said. However, I am buying battle-tested equipment that guarantees the security of Poland, emphasized the Minister of Defense. He also stressed that the process of strengthening the country's armed forces is progressing. Earlier, at the end of July, Polish Minister of Defense Mariusz Błaszczak signed a deal for the purchase of Fa-50 aircraft. This deal will equip up to 3 Air Force squadrons. The first aircraft will be delivered as early as mid-2023. As previously reported, Poland is about to buy 48 Fa-50 light combat aircraft. Their outdated Soviet fighters will be replaced by Fa-50 fighter jets. Also, Poland concluded a deal for the purchase of 32 F-35 Lightning II aircraft on January 31, 2020. The value of the contract is $4.6 billion. The contract requires the US to train 24 pilots and 90 ground personnel. Poland should receive the first aircraft in 2024. Back to 2016, despite the fact that a decision has been taken by the former leadership of the Ministry of Defense at the time to carry out overhauls and prolong the lifetime of the Su-22 jets by yet another 10 years, there is a burning need to replace those airframes since their value on the contemporary battlefield is significantly limited. Complex works that carried out by the WZL-2 facility allow for further use of those jets in the NATO airspace. However, the modernization will not provide the Su-22 with the required combat capabilities. In case of the 10 years younger and NATO-compliant MiG-29 aircraft, the issue is not so burning. However, the capabilities offered by these airframes, e.g. in comparison with the Polish F-16CD Block 52 Plus jets, are very limited. MiG-29 and Su-22 jets may only be used now to maintain the skills and habits of the pilots and the ground crews. Su-22 aircraft are obsolete. MiG-29 is only capable of gaining air superiority in a specific point. It has no proper range, no modern avionics, and it does not use any modern armament. It is not a multi-role jet. In total, 80 multi-role aircraft could replace the aforementioned designs should they be implemented in their latest variant, with full equipment and armament packages. Poland's Su-22 fitters are a rare breed these days and now look set to be replaced by new F-35s. These charismatic heavyweights will continue in service for a few more years, but they are looking decidedly obsolete in the modern battle space. In a world increasingly populated by advanced fifth-generation fighter aircraft, it seems extraordinary that a European Air Force would still fly Cold War-era heavy metal such as the impressive Sukhoi Su-22 fitter. Yet the Polish Air Force, Sibi Powiatran, has clung onto and repeatedly upgraded its Soviet-era MiG-29 Fulcrums and Su-22s, despite significant modernization efforts. The first fitter landed on Polish soil on August 28, 1984, when Su-22 M4 serial 3005 arrived at Piba. Poland went on to acquire 90 Su-22 M4 variants and 20 Su-22 UM3KS, which would serve within 4 regiments. The type's variable geometry, swing, wings are unlike the design of the Tornado, for example, as only the outer section of the wing moves, thus enabling stores to be carried on the fixed inner section and avoiding the need for complex pivoting hardpoints. The wings are moved manually by the pilot to angles of 28, 45 and 62 degrees. The Su-22 was designed from the outset to be rugged and easily maintained with minimal ground support. It can operate from austere landing strips and has avionics systems that are grouped in modules which can easily be swapped out if required. When Poland joined NATO in 1997, it necessitated a raft of compatibility upgrades for the fleet. It's worth noting that many pilots actually preferred the Russian Ils. As Poland elected to retain its fitters, despite procuring a new fleet of F-16 Block 50-52s, further upgrades were required to keep the aircraft in operation, such was the uncertainty over options for a replacement. In April 2014, an official statement was released that condemned the fitters to be withdrawn from use in 2016, most likely to be replaced by second-hand F-16s. However, just 12 months later, the Polish Ministry of Defense announced that 18 aircraft would receive another minor upgrade and their service life would be extended to at least 2024, some 40 years after initial deliveries. The Polish Air Force decided to put the Su-22s through a final upgrade that included new avionics, an updated gun camera and new radios. According to the agreement signed on February 9, 2015, 18 examples were overhauled by WZL-2, Wojsko Zakbady Lotnicze NR-2, Military Aviation Plant No. 2, in Bydgoszcz between 2015 and 2017 at a cost of approximately €36 million. Overhauls were to be completed at a rate of 6 aircraft per year, with each airframe requiring an average of 9 months of work. Additional equipment included an RS-6113 radio, evident through a blade antenna on top of the fuselage, and a new flight parameter recorder. New cockpit instruments scaled in the Imperial system replaced all the metric scale gauges. The service life of each jet was extended by another 10 years, or 800 flight hours and 1,200 landings, or 1,600 landings for the two-seaters.